Stop me for questions. So, all right, thank you so much for joining for the parent meeting for camp over at Breakaway down in Lake Williamson. I'm gonna go a little bit through what I go with the students, but then I'm gonna skip over some of the stuff that's just for them and like the funny videos. So if you need me to stop, tell me to stop. And then thank you for watching this. I hope this is helpful. I have, there should be a document you can look at as well. It should be linked somewhere. And we'll be good to go. If you could close that door for me. Thank you so much, Corey. All right, the first thing is, and I told him to get up and then I needed to move it. So we will be here, if you can get to the next slide, July 13th, so we're leaving. That's Monday, and we're gonna get here at 8, load up between like then and a little before 8:30, hopefully leave at 8:30. Realistically, we leave a little late every time. We're gonna shoot as much as possible for that time. We're gonna stop one time for bathroom and food. If, of course, there's an emergency, we'll stop, but we tell the kids, we try to go for one, so hopefully everyone goes to the bathroom and just one time. It's gonna be fast food along the way. Depending on how we do it, we might take orders ahead of time, or we might just stop somewhere. It's a lot of kids, we'll just kind of figure it out. We try to get there a little bit before 2, so around like 1:30 is kind of that sweet spot. That gives us a couple minutes to sort of check in and then jump into orientation. After orientation, then we kind of handle the luggage and all that. So it depends on how quickly we can move, we'll be there. And then we usually come back, I just say aim for the 7 p.m. It's always late. So if I say 5 to 7, probably closer to 7, we'll show up here. We're taking the Eves van, they're donating it, and then the Muellers are taking their van. So we'll probably stop once on the way back to try and clean it. And we'll probably stop at least once. We're not gonna be as rushed, so if there's students still at the altar on the last day, we're gonna just wait and take our time with that. And then sometimes last minute, oh, I forgot this in the room, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes it's a little later. So just prepare for that. I'd say 7 p.m. we should be here. If there's a difference, you will be notified. There's actually a QR code so you can scan so you can get on the chat. So we'll be up to date with that. And all this should be inside where you got. All right, Corey, good. You're already there. So the Facebook page, the Instagram page, all the ILSM official websites and stuff, they've got all the good photos. So keep an eye on that. They'll also update you with the different days and if it's raining and funny videos. They're really good at that, so keep an eye on them. And then the students will have group texts with the leaders. So my room will have their own group text. Marie's room will have their own group text. We have other leaders. I think Sarah's going to be another leader. She'll have a room. We will have that with our students directly, and then we'll have another one with just the parents. So if you pull the next one up, so don't. If you are going to camp in 2026, you can scan that, and you guys can scan this actually if you want to scan it right now. And you can join the WhatsApp. If you are after 2026, don't scan that. That's an old link. You should have a new link. It should be in the document that I have. So if you wanted to scan that, if you have an issue, let me know. I'm just going to give a second for that to pull up. We have in the past done other forms of texting. This is just the one, it's just the easiest because there's always someone that wants to be added on while we're driving and then that evening and then it's like a whole crazy thing. So this is the one way we'll be able to communicate with the parents. If you need us, of course, message us. You can always just side message us. Do you guys have the WhatsApp?
Yeah.
Okay, do you have WhatsApp? Yeah, oh, were you able to pull it up?
Yeah, I've got it. I can see our momentum chat. We're just waiting for approval.
Okay.
And approval.
Okay, all right, well, my phone is recording, so we'll approve you in a minute. So, all right, cool. So we'll get the ball rolling. We'll have between us and the leaders just uploading photos periodically. Of course, if you want to side message us about your parents, my number, if it's not on there, you can get it. So just let me know if you need my number or we can directly talk. And of course, Marie will probably be, between Marie and Sarah will be with your kids. So figure out where they're going to be and you can message them. All right, next one. That's the theme for this year. You can skip to the next one. That's the video. You can just like double tap. Yeah. In case you guys are wondering, in case the students are like, what am I going to sing? Do I want to like know the songs ahead of time? These are pretty generic kind of top hits for right now if you want. I mean, if you want to take a picture, you can. I showed it to the kids if you're interested. And like, well, what are they listening to? These will be some of the songs. They're going to get worship this year from church out in Rockford City First. That's going to be who's going to come down, I think. That's what I saw somewhere. So, and it's really great worship. It's awesome. Honestly, I was telling the kids this. One of my favorite parts of all camps, and I say this every single year 100 times, is when all the stage stops and it's just the kids singing a cappella. Oh, so good. So good. All right. and the team color is green. So when we say that, we encourage students to have at least 4 green shirts or something predominantly green or strong accents of green. Because when you're on the field and if you're not wearing the color, again, if you're watching after 2026, I don't know if you're green, so check the thing. In 2026, we're green. We've been a different color every year, so, and we usually find out like a week before. So we had about a week before. We found out on Saturday, so it's pretty normal. So green, so that's anything that you can think of that's created to be green. That's color the room green. That's wear a shirt that's green. That's wear a costume that's green. You know, it's really hot out there. Most kids just wear a green shirt, something athletic. You know, something that's cut off so you can breathe a little bit or whatever. I have some costumes I'm gonna wear. We have a giant green alligator Sheila gave us. I'm gonna be a pickle and an avocado and a green M&M and a green lantern. I don't think I'm gonna be Larry the cucumber because I don't think it's gonna get here on time. So pray for Larry. But I will also be, what is it? Shenanigans. What's shenanigans? Oh, St. Patrick's Day. I'm gonna do St. Patrick's Day. So, and then some of the kids are also doing that, and you'll find, so if you guys want to coordinate amongst each other, you can. I don't do a big press on the different theme days. There used to be theme days that were official, now they're not. If they want to do it, they can. I recognize it's an extra burden on the parents to spend a little extra money and run around. That being said, Marie is doing for this year, 2026, she's going to be meeting again in Algonquin Commons. She'll be there on, I want to say Saturday at 1. Check the Church Center app for all the details. So if you kids want to all shop together, I don't know. I think there's a Ross. There's some like lesser expensive places over there. And then if you need help with that, let us know. We can always try and find something. So that's basically there. How to win. So this is a competition at camp. Our camp is very competitive. It is. It's a Christian camp, but it's very focused on competition. So you have a lot of games. So you're going to want to win the games, but you can also get points for other things. One of the ways you get points is if it's clean. The cleaner your rooms are, and then if you decorate your rooms, that's another level. So you could do some sort of green theme, religious theme, and sometimes you get points for that. Listen to everybody, of course, you know, general things, be polite, listen, be where you're supposed to be, all that. And then the last one is creatively cheer. So if you're not going to compete, which is actually normal, a lot of games, there's only a couple kids on the field. Some of them it's everybody, some of them it's just a couple kids. And not that you can't sit out, you can sit out. If you're sitting out, then we just encourage people to cheer. That doesn't mean that you have to scream, but sometimes you lose a little bit of points when you're cheering. Now, if that's going to be a burden, it's hot and all that, that's a conversation we can have on the side, and I think we've been made aware of different things. But in general, if a student is out there, we're expecting them to cheer, because sometimes you could lose points. I mean, they're pretty brutal about that. So just kind of that mindset. They're going to be like, why aren't you cheering? Like that's part of it. Everyone's high energy. Part of why they do that is they want the students to get all their energy out so that they're finally able to receive in the evening. It's just part of how this camp does it. There's other camps do different things. That's how this camp does it. They really want everyone to really get their energy out. So at the end of the night, they're depleted. They're ready to stand before the Lord. You know, I become less so that He becomes more. So just kind of keep an eye on that. They're not trying to be mean. That's just kind of how it is. And they're very competitive. And yes, I'm going to say this in a video. I'm going to get my credentials pulled. The whole way that they give points sometimes seems a little unfair. It's just kind of how it is. Sometimes they miss it. Somebody does it and they miss it, and it's just how it is. So there's going to be a little bit of that. We're just trying to be as fair as possible. I've seen it. We did it so many times. And I'm like, how did they miss us? We were cheering louder. It's just part of it. So there's going to be a little bit of that. The judges were biased. Like, maybe they shouldn't see. I don't know. I would hate to be a judge, so I'll just say that. So there's just a lot there. I try to give grace to the judges. We also try to speak to judges if there's something genuinely unfair as well. But usually it's kind of like, it's not a big deal. All right, next slide. Make sure I'm on here. We can just skip. These are the different games they're playing. So if you are, or you can take a picture of that. If you are familiar with camp or camp games, these are the games. This is all on their social media, so you can find this. So some of the churches that are more used to this, or they've got people that are doing the deans and all that, they will practice these games, and then they're ready. It's tough because a lot of these things, you have to be the first one to shoot up, the first one to run front, and then you get to play. They try to be fair. They try to be as fair as possible, but sometimes it's like the squeaky wheel gets the grease, you know what I mean? So it's not that they're trying to favor a kid, it's that there's like 100 kids, and they just pick the guys in front of him, and he was dressed as a blueberry yesterday, and now he's a raspberry, and they couldn't tell the difference. So we try to do as much as we can, but sometimes it's a little bit chaotic. So if any of those games are familiar, then they can play. Again, some of these are not super sporty, like Super Smash Brothers, Cornhole, Uno. So we have to be very, there was axe throwing, is it up there? There might be, there's a couple other things. If you signed your kid up for like a ropes course, we will try our best to keep them on schedule for that, usually during free time. But ultimately it's their responsibility to remember, hey, I'm at 3:30 to go over here. And we'll debrief them about all that as well. All right, so the medical stuff. Before they leave on Monday will be a lice check. Before you leave, you got a lice check. Gotta make sure everybody's good. Let's just assume everyone's good. I'm not even gonna cross that bridge right now. Everybody should be good. Nurse's office. If your child goes to the nurse's office, we have to go with the nurse says. The nurse says it. So we encourage students to go to the nurse if they feel like they need to, but be aware that if it's something contagious or the nurse says you have to go home, you have to go home, and parents gotta pick them up. So if they need to go to the nurse, we'll send them to the nurse. If the nurse says you gotta be picked up, you gotta be picked up. Most of the time, you guys kind of came in here at the end. They didn't eat, they didn't sleep, or what's the last one? Eat, sleep, or drink. So a lot of times, as long as they do those things, typically they do well. If it's something more serious, we'll talk to you about it. A lot of times, the nurse will send them right back. If there are other circumstances, which we've talked about and we've already covered, then sometimes the nurse will let them hang out there for a little bit. But I think we'll cross those at an individual basis. But for the most part, we want your kids to be as active out there as possible. Pray for good weather. It's hot, but and there's not a lot of shade. But once you get done with it, then the evening stuff is all nice and cool, and then you go inside. And some of the stuff is inside, like Uno. It's not going to be too intense. So, medication. So all medication goes to the nurse. So it doesn't matter what it is because it's a liability. We all know this. If something happens and someone accidentally thinks something's an Altoid, we just don't want to go there. All medication goes to the nurse. If you have medication, we don't want to see it. We don't want to know that it exists unless you've already talked to the nurse, and then the nurse has it and you go through the nurse. A little bit of a hassle, but it's part of what you gotta do. All right. Well, any thoughts, any questions on all that yet? No? Okay.
Is even like Advil in that?
Yes, so we're not supposed to touch any of it. I don't know anything about that stuff. When I'm sick, I go to my wife. I don't know. So I don't touch it. So if you want to take a picture of this, you can. Otherwise, it's also on the list. Yes?
What about Chloe sunscreen? I know in schools, sometimes some schools consider that medication.
My understanding is sunscreen is not considered medication. That's my take. If I will get back to you if that's different, but I'm pretty sure that they're fine with it.
And body spray.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's, I think all that's good. So just a couple notes, money for 2 meals, money for a meal going up, money for a meal going down, money for a meal going up. Snacks, have snacks going up and down, preferably stuff that's not gonna make a big mess if possible. I know it's not always possible, but if you can. Sleeping bag is the easiest way to go. It's little twin beds, so a sleeping bag is just fine. Most kids are just fine with that. But you can bring bed sheets. There may or may not be a lot of space. So based in 2026, we're supposed to have a luggage little cart. Someone's gonna drag it up. I think Sarah's gonna have a luggage bin. I don't know how big it is. She's gonna Nolan asked if he could bring a speaker. The answer is yes, as long as it fits in the thing. I just don't know yet, so we'll see. So the sleeping bag and pillow. And then if you're staff, you will likely have a bigger bed, but you might still have a bunk depending on the size of them. Bring a towel, bring recreational clothes, bring gym shoes. I don't know why, I know girls like to dress nice, but really like as comfortable as you can the whole time, because you may be going to service, but maybe you're going to first service, now you wore your nice shoes, and then they're playing tetherball over there in Gaga, and then you're gonna have an issue. So I really just think just wear comfy shoes. But hey, if you wanna look fancy, you can, but. Toiletries, yeah, they don't have any. I think every once in a while we'll have a room that has like soap, like shampoo, but I would just bring little bottles like you see at the hotels. No bikini, I don't wanna see your stomach, they don't wanna see your stomach, don't wanna see any cheeks, all that stuff. Just, if there's a question of it, you can ask us, but if there's a question, probably just do something else. Paper Bible, so this is something we're trying to do. It's new, I don't know how we're gonna do this. We're doing our best to be like, bring your paper Bible. We want to get kids off the phones. We really want them off social media. I understand they need to communicate with us. So we can't just take the phones because they have to communicate with us. Again, with free time, I'm not gonna be with every kid. There's, some kids are gonna go here and there and everywhere, so they need to have their phones with them. But they don't need to be on social media. So I am encouraging every parent, if you can, to put some sort of screen time password and limit it to like 5 minutes or just not at all that week. They need to detach, and the more they can detach, the better. So I don't know how you can do that with a student, or just ask them, or just know that we're gonna try and reinforce it as much as possible. If they're not around me and they're at the rec center and they're on their stuff, I can't really enforce it, but as much as possible, you know, downtime, we don't want them on their phones. They're listening to music together, that's one thing we're just trying to figure, I don't know exactly how this is gonna work. That's why I want paper Bible. So I'm not wondering, are you on your Bible or not? Like, bring a paper Bible, bring a notepad. When lights out happens, in my room, I'm okay if you stay up, just don't keep other people up, and don't be on social media. I think that some people are like, you know what, we're just gonna limit it for 15 minutes a day. That's enough to check your whatever, make sure your best friend's doing whatever, and then you're back to your normal. Or if you're in the toilet, sometimes you just wanna. So we're gonna try that. We'll figure out how we can do it to get the kids off of their social media. And then we had a question about a Kindle. So Kindle's good as well. Again, we want them kind of communicating. So if you can find a way to incorporate the Kindle in like social, I know like you don't social the whole time. Some kids need to like breathe. I guess
She's
that.
bringing just a paper book.
Yeah. Well, if she wants to bring.
She's not.
Okay. So again,
She might think so, but.
we encourage social interaction. I mean, you can go on the lake, you can go on the canoe, and you can just chill and just look. I mean, I think the thing is I really want this to be a different week than a normal week. And this is kind of like an excuse to like detach as much as possible. So as much as we can disconnect, as much as we can pull back, we want to let them do that. Cleaning supplies. So maybe coordinate with some of the other girls, with Marie and me. I mean, I'm not. I bring like the towel and like a Windex or whatever. I don't do it very well, but the girls know how to keep it clean. The cleaner it is, the more points they get. You can get a crown room, you get a crown room, you get like points. It's like woo. So everyone tries to keep it really clean and then decorate. Optional. So I say optional, the 4 pieces of clothing, but it really need it because it's really obvious when the kids don't, and I feel really bad for those. It's kind of like, so bring something, but it can be as simple as just something a really big accent. That's the same color. Flip flops, public showers. Some of the rooms have public showers. I think in one of them it's like dorm style, and then in the other ones they're in the room. Just depends on the room you have. But I would bring flip flops. Suntan lotion, bug spray, room decorations, jacket. Yes, the weather is crazy. If there's ever an issue with weather, we'll let you know. I mean, potentially bad weather, but we haven't had, besides bad rain, anything like that. But it probably will rain. Umbrellas, ponchos, money for Speed the Light. So there's a special offering for Speed the Light. We recommend the students earn money for that offering. I just think it means more than just that their parents give it to them. You're welcome to give the students money for Speed the Light offering. None of it goes to us. Again, it goes straight to the missionaries. But maybe encourage them, hey, between now and then, or if they have some money that's saved up, say, hey, like, even if it's just a little bit, just give that spirit of generosity. Spending money. There's a merch store. There's cool merch. There's really cool merch, actually. So they're probably gonna wanna buy some shirts and stuff. I mean, pretty much everything I wear is from their merch. I think they've really elevated their game with that. They've got candy and this doesn't make sense to me, but there's the cafe, right? So you eat there for 3 meals. Like once you get to the camp, everything's basically paid for. But for some reason, they'll go to the cafe, they'll eat, or they won't eat, and then they'll go to there's like a cafeteria, there's like a separate little area where they have like different food, but that you have to pay for. Some of the kids are like, that's okay. Like, I mean, if that's what you want to spend your money on, you can go ahead and do that. So there's like, it's like slushies and kind of more fancy stuff that like the kids like, and Takis, and I don't know exactly, but that's another option. So if they don't have enough snacks, they can buy it there, but of course it's going to be a little pricey. Yeah.
Is it just cash or can they have a?
They can have a card.
Okay.
They can have a card. Yeah, they can have a card.
Do you know how much the t-shirts and stuff are?
So everyone who signs up should have a t-shirt.
Right.
The extra shirts would be between $20-25. The extra hoodies are like between $45 and $65.
Okay.
Kind of typical. There's like BGMC cards and stuff. Those are like $5. I mean, the snacks are, I think like, I don't know, like Six Flags prices.
Right.
So yeah. You do have a couple clearance stuff every once in a while. We are going the last week, so we could have some clearance options that are less than $20-25. And hats are $20 or $25. This kind of talks about that. We're gonna do our best to kind of do that. If you can, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse about the phones. or try our best to limit that as much as possible. Oh, so I say this story all the time. I used to work at, I'm gonna try and go fast. I'm almost, okay. Oh. I used to work at Disney World. And what was so fascinating is there was one day, above all days of the year, and I don't know if this is still true, but this is true when I went, but one day for the most theft. Do you know what night that was? One night, one event. It was like the Night of Joy, it was like the Christian event. So just because it's a Christian conference, or Christian camp, just because it's mostly Christian does not mean stuff doesn't get stolen. Really encourage, if there is money, it needs to be on you. It needs to be on you, it needs to be on you. We've even in the room, it's like, so-and-so took it, did you see them take it? No, I didn't take it, but I thought they took it. Just, if it's money, money should be on you as much as you can. Find a way to figure that out. I don't know, but we've had incidents, these are not big deals, but enough. So money should always be on you, even if you're going up for the altar and stuff like that. As much as possible, keep your money on you, or keep it locked up somewhere, or however you want to do it. What not to bring, you guys know this, you know, anything that you wouldn't want to bring to school or a co-op, don't bring it. I'm just going to read it just for the sake, in case they can't hear it here. Weapons, vape pens, edibles, devices for nicotine, THC stuff, electronic devices, laptops, video games. Some of the kids do bring stuff like that. I mean, it's not like terrible if you want to bring a game you play with a friend, but the more outdoorsy the better. Again, that's kind of, don't bring silly string, it's hard to get off. Don't bring water guns, don't bring water balloons. Don't bring sidewalk tape, paint, tape, spray. So when you decorate the rooms, just do stuff that can come off easily. Again, no inappropriate clothing. Make sure that the images, it's a Christian church camp, so just keep that in mind. Unapproved medicine, again, all medicine needs to go through the camp. And then of course ILSM may search things, they may pull things. I've seen ILSM, I've seen some crazy stuff at camp. And not from our kids, but I've seen some crazy stuff. So any thoughts on that? Next one. You can skip it. These are some rules in general of youth. They all apply down there, of course. There's a couple different categories. Read your Bible, pray. That's part of thou shalt be prepared. Thou shalt be present. Don't leave the room unattended. Pay attention, be involved. So with that, the only exception to that would be during free time. During free time, they are able to go on their own, and as long as they're within the property, they're basically free to have a little bit of freedom there. I was gonna say something. Shoot, maybe it'll come back to me. Be polite, speak live, keep your hands to yourself, dress appropriately, respect one another, respect the space. There was something I was gonna say. What was it? It was kind of important. I can't remember. I don't know. I was probably on the sheet somewhere. Just a couple things. We try to give them verbal warnings. A couple verbal warnings. We have a conversation. We try not to. We try to be lenient if we can, but at some point we'll call the parent, and then leadership discretion. We've called the deans and basically like, what's the rules? What's the protocols? I mean, there's all sorts of one-offs. So we basically call the deans over, and the deans sort of decide, and then they talk with us. So just hopefully we don't have to encounter any of that. Man, what is the being present? Oh, there was something. Oh, it's all right. I'll just remember it and put it in something else. It's right there. It was right with being present. What was the being present? I don't know. We'll keep going. If I think about it, I'll add it. I can't remember. These are just a couple of things we really recommend the students just make new friends, make an effort to talk to everybody. You know, don't have your own clique, not just your room. So you need to have the camaraderie of your own room. That's good. But like, talk to everybody at the church. We really encourage that. If you've got students and they have a best friend, that's cool, but please encourage them to talk to other people. You see somebody send, on their own, we really want everyone to really be talking to each other, really be communicating. That is one of the difficult things about youth group is a lot of times people will have their one best friend or two, and then they don't branch out. And then unfortunately, like, cliques and stuff happen, and that's not good. So I don't think the kids mean to do it. We really want them to all kind of talk. Stay on social media as much as possible. I mean, if you can stay off completely, that's good. If not, have a limit and stick to that limit. No bullying, no strong language. Make sure you listen, respect property. The big things, everything, of course, but it's specifically phones, wallets, watches. And phones, wallet, watches, those are kind of big, like, don't touch. And then I wanna say that's probably the last one. Okay, there's one more after this. Just participate, this is just kind of reaffirming full participation. That might look different for different people, we can always talk about that, but we really want you being as involved as possible. There is a code of conduct and a rules, and so it should be a link there, and I'm gonna send something out as well. There'll be a link, you can read all the code of conduct, that goes into all the details of what is allowed, what's not allowed over at LSM, directly from LSM. We talked about medication. Of course, PDA, there's something called Pinky Friday. So the only allowed PDA we wanna see is on Friday. At the end of the week, you can pick one person to be your Pinky Friday, you can hold Pinky for you can hold a Pinky, that's it. We don't wanna see anything else other than that, that's it. Your Pinky Friday, your one Pinky Friday. You will be, we'll just leave that there. And then Drew's encouraging, eat right, drink a lot, and sleep. Again, the nurse says that's typically why kids are not having a good time. They're not eating right, they're not drinking enough, they're not sleeping. There's of course other things, and if those are an issue, please talk to us, so we're aware, and the nurses, so they're aware. But that's the big chunk of it right there. So I think that's it. The next slide, I think, is the have fun slide. Then have fun. Camp's great. God's gonna move in your kids. Be praying for them. Be praying really, really hard. God moves, but also there's a lot of things to try and distract them. But I'd say that a lot of times, that's where the kids, they seem like they're just sitting there and quiet, but they'll be at camp, they'll be up at the altar, they'll be crying, they'll be weeping, it's just incredible. Incredible. There's a reason why so many people support, that's why every year we have discounts on camp, because people fund it and give money towards it, because they believe it, because they got saved at camp, or their friend got saved. It's just incredible. So, that to be said, do you have any questions? Yeah, so, and the kids already heard this, I wanna make sure they heard it. There's a bunch of people that hopefully will watch this later, 2026, and maybe beyond. Next time, I hope if I record this, I'll have my mics, I don't know where, they have some mic issues today, so. All right, well, let me turn this off, and then we'll see you at camp. Be praying for your kids. God bless you, thanks.